Hello there everyone, Mr. E here, and we need to talk about a few bugs that are really negatively affecting the Hive Scum. He is currently being held back by a couple of interactions, and I'll be talking about one that is 100% a bug and not a feature or not some sort of unintended feature, and then another couple that I think may or may not be how the feature is intended, but are important to know the interactions thereof. So let's go ahead and start by spawning in a Rager here, and we're going to get him to lower our toughness. You can see my toughness is broken down there on the bottom of the screen now. You might have noticed if you've seen my custom UI before, it's a little bit different now. I have updated it, and pretty much at the time of posting of this video, I'll be updating it for all the members on my Discord. So YouTube members, there you go. Go ahead and get it downloaded. Everything is working right now. A couple of minor flags coming up, but mods seem to be in pretty good shape. So we've got our toughness broken, and then from here, if we have this talent up here, which is called Precision Violence, we should get 4% toughness on a melee hit, 8% on a weak spot hit or critical, and 12% on a weak spot critical hit. So if we just go ahead and melee him, that seems like it's checking out, 4%, right? That was a crit, so that gave me double that. And then if I get a headshot, that seems to give me a lot more. And a headshot crit is quite a bit. Okay, so that seems to be working as intended. Now, the problem here is that if I let him break my toughness again, yada yada, the problem here is that if I happen to have this talent right here called hypercritical, well, what will occur is if this talent culls an enemy, meaning you get a critical strike on an enemy, and let's hope I get a crit here. Oh, not quite yet. We'll get it one of these times. Come on, give me a crit. There we go. Okay, so we got a crit. And that crit executed that enemy instead of actually outright killing him. So what is going to occur now is if I get my toughness broken again, now watch as I attack this guy. I am no longer going to regain any toughness from those single attacks. I will only, in fact, regain toughness from directly killing this enemy. So right there, I regain some toughness from killing him, but I won't regain any toughness from the melee attacks anymore. And that is huge because this is like the #1 way that melee attackers sustain their damage. And from there, what we need to do is basically just take every hypercritical out of every build. I'm going to leave them in my builds for right now because I pray that this is patched on Tuesday because this is such a critical error. It is a massive nerf to the one sort of layout that melee scum are using. If you have a build within it, for instance, this is the build that I was showcasing the other day with the dual daggers. Perhaps you're using that one from just like a day or two ago. What I would recommend is go ahead and remove hypercritical, and you can place it into one of the defensive nodes, or you can come over here and grab an additional node and maxed out chems for chemical dependency. If you're playing an Adrenaline Frenzy build, you could pick up Adrenaline Unbound and Stoked Rage. You have an extra node to spend somewhere else, but just do not buy hypercritical right now because it's going to turn off your #1 way of regenerating your toughness. So that is the very first and the most important thing to spread knowledge to all you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about some other really weird interactions. One other one that is definitely a bug is occurring right here between these two talents. Or rather not these two talents, but just Jittery in general. Jittery gives you 40% dodge recovery speed when your stamina is above 75%. So basically what that means here is if I get myself some dodge recovery speed, there we go, I should see that my dodges come back much more quickly. There we go. See how fast those came back? Oop, there they are back. Okay, now let's do the same thing, but we're going to dodge down and we're going to slide. Did you see how much longer it took off the back of that slide to get those back, even though my stamina is still full? Yeah, so it's not the same amount of duration after the slide either. What is happening is, for some reason, a dodge slide is being counted not as a dodge. It is being counted as a slide, and that is therefore canceling this buff. So really terrible stuff because it's nerfing that talent. So be certain. I would just recommend not taking Jittery as it currently is because you are very often sliding to get the effects of Slippery Customer, and that's going to completely remove that effect for you. So those are two really critical bugs that are just nullifying two major talents in the tree, so avoid them wherever possible. Now let's talk about a couple of other interactions that I think are worth noticing that players have been pointing out. One of which is the fact that Stimm Supply is not in fact interacting with chemical dependency at all. Stimm Supply right now, I cannot for the life of me tell whether or not it has its intended effects or if it is having just some sort of halfway between of several different effects. Basically, Stimm Supply, when you put it down, it puts your Stimm on cooldown. So you can see here, it puts my Stimm on cooldown and it actually applies those buffs to me. You can see that my Stimm is on cooldown there right at the top of my hexagon. My Stimm is now red and has that cooldown over it. So that is my personal Stimm and that will come back after a duration. However, when you place this Stimm Supply down, it has a different interaction with Stimms than any time else you would use the Stimm. Let's go to this like regular ass range build here, where I don't have Stimm Supply, right? So what I'll get from here is I'll get a regular Stimm, and you'll see that my Stimm duration there at the top is 10 seconds, and only after this duration expires will I actually start to go on cooldown. So for some reason, and it may or may not be intentional, Stimm Supply puts your Stimm on cooldown immediately starting when you actually drop the kit, starting during the duration of your Stimm. So it is a very effective way to get more Stimms more often, but the real problem is that it doesn't stack the node that you would really want with this tree, which is chemical dependency. It doesn't count as actually using a Stimm on you, even though it does use your Stimm, and therefore you cannot stack chemical dependency, which would be the best ability to use with it since it gives you cooldown reduction. So if you are using Stimm Supply, just make certain that you are just not using chemical dependency. And also remember that when you're using Stimm Supply, if you have used your personal Stimm like this, and then you drop the kit will not provide the buffs of the Stimm to you. It will only provide its passive effects, such as the corruption removal and all that stuff. So you have to have your Stimm active in order to do that. So that's a really niche interaction that a lot of people didn't know, and in fact I didn't know for a good long amount of time too. There are a couple of other hard to say whether they are intentional or unintentional anti-synergies with this class that you should be well aware of, most of them revolving around hypercritical as well for whatever reason. Hypercritical claiming the kills as an execution instead of being an outright kill means you will not get credit towards things like Blackout stacking up. Blackout also won't get any kills when you are getting kills at close range through damage over time effects. So just be aware whenever you're using these Blackout grenades that if you have any sort of bleeds or anything on your weapons, those won't be contributing stacks if they are the ones that claim the kill when you're at close range. You also want to be aware that this sort of long-lasting Stimm here does not actually give extra duration when you're under the effects of Stimm Supply. This will always last only 15 seconds or 20 seconds if you don't have the fast-acting Stimms node. So taking this node over here is effectively useless with Stimm Supply. And I'm certain there are others that are out there that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head right now. I know there are some sort of bugs that are occurring across the game right now with the recoil being all sort of messed up. And I know this isn't all because I am working on another video for a much larger issue that is affecting all classes. Is not just a Hive Scum thing. It is in fact affecting the whole game, and I am seeing just how deep this rabbit hole goes because the game is in a really weird state right now. And if you have noticed a lot of very jank behavior with specials or enemies hitting you and they don't seem like they should, or etc, etc, those things are going noted by many players, and I'm digging into it, trying to find the source of it, and trying to catalog information as best I can. Expect a video about that very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please comment down below if you have any other bugs or issues that you've noticed that I didn't address in this video and you think they need to get out there to the community. I'll be certain to give them a platform and keep people informed so they're not doing stuff like hypercritical until at least it's patched. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your information, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.